Hello again, traders. Right, I haven't made a video for a long while, so I thought I would put one together now in as a response to a comment on YouTube by Cert or Certi, or apologies if I've messed that up totally, but you know who you are, and you asked about targets. And I can't remember whether you asked about stops, but oh, and apologies for the noise. Uh, it's um, it's too hot to have the windows shut, so, and that's Vietnam for you. So anyway, um, and apologies for the mess on this chart. It's just one of many templates, all different templates that I use. But really, in reality, this will always be here. This will always be here. So almost all of this is normal on my charts now. And you know, in particular, I just cannot tell you how these few indicators on here. Well, I say few, there's loads, but in particular these ones, the pivots, and I've talked about them before. Daily pivots, you can have weekly and monthly pivots. You can really go mad. And you know, as a new trader, all those years and years and years ago, uh, I focused on trying to trade the pivots on their own. That was before the two Bs. That was before the Sonic Dragon, which I absolutely adore, and is important actually for newer traders to understand uh, trend trading. And in fact, now I know so much more about supply and demand, and you know, I understand these charts. Like, you know, you've got R1, I think that is up here, hidden there, and you've got the daily pivot. Yeah, of course it's R1. Um, and you know, you cannot avoid the screen time required, um, going back to the pivots, because I learned those on their own, as it were. And way back then, there were pivot traders and some really incredible traders. And the daily open line, that's only really a recent thing. I say recent, probably 2 or 3 years, time flies. And then you've got the SS, support and resistance indicator. Again, something that I used on its own to try to trade. But now, to get to the point, apologies, Cert, also T, about targets. I can't stress this enough, and that's why I make these videos now. I have a very incredibly relaxed attitude to targets and stops. None of your 2 to 1 RRR and all that stuff, because you know, I can find trades absolutely everywhere now, just using really the 2B and 1, 2, 3 reversal logic, because you can see them everywhere. You know, that's a 1, 2, 3 high low. There'll be a 2B down here on the 1 minute. This is a fantastic looking, crazy sized move. We're looking at something like just from the entry, the guaranteed entry to back to um, the the open line, which always, well, not always, but you will see it get tested and tested and tested and tested all day long. So you can scalp to that and back to it, and look how it's used it there again, and then up to the R1. But getting back to my point, the 2B, the easiest, the most simple rule I use now is from the original Vic Sperandeos rules, which was your stop should be below the low, and you take profits should be somewhere up here. But I want to be getting in as low as I possibly can, because I know this is all part of a downtrend, and all we're doing on the downtrend is we're testing all the kinks in the road, as it were, from the downtrend. So this will be a target area. Whoops, sorry about that. This will be a target area. This will be a target area. If I'm on M1, that will probably pop up again in a moment. Drop down to M1 and have a look at that. And take the scroll off. Then that's really, I can see this is the first entry here, to be honest with you. There's a tiny kink there, and what that will be is a candle open and close area, something like that. So all of these, it's second nature. So I'd want to go from around here up to there because I want to enter as low as I possibly can, and I want to have the smallest stop I can. So this, I'm not saying this would be a valid trade, but now, because I understand open and closes of candles so much better, that will be a perfect entry on a tick chart or something. You can use offline charts to create, any 1 second charts, tick charts, whatever, 10-second charts. I traded them in the past and studied them. So I can't do that in front of you now, but my point being, that level there, if we could have dropped down further, once you've closed above that open and close level, that on the lower time frame will give you a perfect entry. And so going back to my original flexible point is that all I've said this before in previous videos, and I thought I'd make a new one instead of try and search through over 1100 free videos on here, because everything changes. My entire trading I don't know, thought process, strategy, whatever you want to call it now, is entirely different than it was before I got involved with the daily open line and before I got involved with just listening to trades. You know, there'll be a valid buy there, there'll be a valid sell here. I don't actually bother trading half of this stuff. In fact, I concentrate mainly on DAX and gold now. But getting back to my original point, so you can see, just use the 2B rules. Just either study a load of my old videos, just use 2B in the search, YouTube search, and all the 2B, and then the bust, use bust on YouTube search, use bust on the Twitter, and you will find all that is, those two things, the 2B reversal and the multi-time frame analysis and bust, pullback, break and close. That, in my opinion, is what I would focus on, and watching how, making a plan on these down moves so that when you watch the up move, however long it takes, 5-10 years or whatever, until your eyes bleed, and you will see you get the perfect entries like this. There's nothing, and then it turns green and boom. And these moves are massive. Even on a 1 minute chart on this gold, don't worry about that little green arrow, that comes from, that's, I don't know what that is, 12 pips, or it could be, based on these moves, I think that's actually 100 odd pips. So, I should have got to this early on, and then you wouldn't have had to listen to me ramble. But every, I'm not interested in any of this because it'll be wrong on the M5, and it's wrong here. But all of this sideways, that's all the accumulation, distribution, whatever you want to call it. And then all of a sudden you'll get a, this again is a priceless indicator, and all of my indicators are free. Don't ask me to find them for you. You can find them on Forex Factory, most of them, this one in particular, on the Robin Hood thread, and it's I think the guy is called SM Jones. Swingman built this. Incredible. That's why you got a SM at the start of that TMS oscillator label. swingman. He's been building fantastic indicators for people for free for over a decade, I think. So that's why Forex Factory is priceless. This is the RSI Histo bust pullback breaking alert. I've talked about that. Do your research, bust on the bust search term. And then, as I say, basically every 2B, the entry would be, that's a 3CR from Aaron, Revelant 3CR. Bloody fantastic piece of coding. So this would be the 3CR. This is the pullback sideways again. If you could look on the lower time frame, and that will be something like, there's not enough bars in this, but I'm not going to change it now. That will be something like the bust pullback break and close. And as I said before, so you know, you look at these on the multiple time frames. That's again getting back to the stops and the targets. I take what the charts will give me. So I take it till first. That's a 2B here. So if I'm entering down here based on the lower time frame, I want to be taking my target around here, the first area of resistance in a long trade, and that's it. Simple as that. It's nothing. I don't want to be all this calculations like the ICT and SMC mob do. You got to do this, you got to do that, you got to do this, you got to do that. I listened to all of that, and I traded all of that in the old days. You know, there's a lovely 2B there. So long since I made a video, I've forgotten what I'm doing. I actually can't be bothered to look at that one now, because I've got lots and lots to do on the 3CR bot. But that's it. Sorry about the lackadaisical way I've made this video, but it's because I'm tired. I've just got back from 2 hours in the sea. The waves are monstrous. It's just incredible. It's a full workout just trying to stand up. Anyway, let's get back to looking at one of these 2Bs. That's the 1, 2, 3 high low there. And again, you know, you want to be. You could if you watch 1,000 or so of these, or you can study them. They're all over your charts. You know, Vic says you should put your stop at the lowest low, but you can eventually you'll learn that you only need to put the stop below the low of the higher low. And you know, you're entering based on the 1 minute chart, because you can get entries earlier by using multi-time frame analysis. We've got all these fantastic indicators to help us now. I mean, they are priceless. They're built on the 2B and then the 3CR that came after the 2B, my 3CR, then the multi-time frame momentum, these things, and the RSI histo. People tell you indicators don't work. They're idiots. That's all there is to it. Candles are indicators. I hate to tell you this, you ICT idiots. Candles are indicators. Okay? So every time you open your charts, you're trading an indicator. Alright? So anyway, look, this got broke and it came back and tested it, then it took off. So the only answer to what you need to do, really, the true answer is learn the 2B and then build your own trading rules. That's it. And we've got so much equipment on these charts now that, you know, you could say, right, okay, well, I'll trade the break off the daily open. I'll trade the bounce off the daily pivot. I will trade. Look at how that touched that pivot, that little red candle there. I'm not going to zoom in again. I mean, it just astonishes me the way. But the banks use pivots. You know, they say don't use indicators, but why wouldn't you use an indicator that the bank uses? You know, you can put every MA under the sun on there, and they will all have a reason to trade. So there is no super secret weapon MA. You know, the Sonic band is a brilliant piece of kit, but you could build it. That's built on a 34 EMA. You could put and the high open and close. You could build your own band on the 36 amp EMA or the SMA or whatever. So don't get too bothered about the minutiae. Just understand that what the bank choose is going to attract price, and the open and all that lot, they are going to attract price. So not even sure what that white line is. I think it might be from yesterday. Yeah, I drew it on the R2 from yesterday. Get rid of that. If the bank choose these things, then use them, because why wouldn't you, really? But you make your trading as complicated or as uncomplicated as you like. But I'm telling you, these things are priceless. Daily open line. But also remember that pivots, although price will use them to the micro pip, they are slightly different on every broker, the open times and all that lot. But I base my H4s. Someone mentioned H4s on my Twitter feed, and the H4 should be aligned with the American session open, which is 10 p.m. in the UK. And I, 20 years plus on this, probably 21 now. If when I started, everyone was asking, oh, what broker's time should I use for H4s and this, that, and the other? And a very, very experienced trader back then told me what I'm just saying to you. And it was so, when you see brokers like O&A and all sorts of big names with the wrong candle open, the wrong H4, and as time's gone by, they've all, or most, have adapted to the 22 p.m. UK American Open. So if you find a broker with the wrong H4, I would run like a bloody jackrabbit away from them, because they are obviously clueless. Anyway, sorry about that. Bit of a rant, off the topic as always, but I'm just trying to stay awake after 2 hours in the sea, to be honest with you. But hopefully that answers your question, Sir T, or Cert. And apologies for the rambling video, but you know me well enough by now. So hopefully the sound quality was alright. My computer keeps going back to weird sound quality, and I've forgotten what I did to change it. Thanks for watching. Have a great day, folks. I always do now. I'm in paradise. Bye for now.